How long has it been since we last slept? What's wrong, want a child? He glanced up at me, then looked down and continued cutting his steak. Wasn't it you who said you didn't want one? Do you think sleeping with you is only for having children? I'm 3 years older than Henry. The year he almost sold himself to save his mother, I paid to help him. He broke up, married me, and became a live-in son-in-law in my family. But in the 5 years of marriage, the times we shared a bed could be counted on one hand. It wasn't until recently, when I found out that his failed ex-girlfriend had become his new secretary, that I finally understood. It's not something I can force. Sitting up straight, I asked, how about tonight? Henry finally looked me in the eye. What's really going on? I glanced at the phone screen by the table, where message notifications kept popping up, then smiled and lowered my head. Maybe we should get a divorce? Henry's expression shifted slightly. But it was only a fleeting moment of surprise, quickly replaced by a half-smiling, half-smirking expression. Because I won't sleep with you, you want a divorce? Amelia's new tactic? I wiped my mouth and poured wine for both of us. The red liquid swayed, releasing an intoxicating aroma, the very fragrance that stirs the deepest desires of the heart. I remember the last time was Christmas last year? I took a small sip and continued talking to myself. It snowed that night, and we had 2 glasses of wine. I bought new pajamas, and you even complimented me. Amelia, Henry interrupted, are you done eating? If so, I'll clean up. As he spoke, he stood up and began clearing the dishes in front of me. He was always so considerate toward me. Since marrying me, even after his entrepreneurial success and becoming a busy CEO, whenever he had time, he would personally cook for me. Not to mention washing dishes and tidying up, if he was around, he did it himself, never delegating to others or machines. I raised my chin at the phone he was still fiddling with, busy with something? He shook his head, work group chat. A few words and he brushed off my mention of divorce, as if casually asking whether the food today was to my liking. This indifferent attitude, if it were any other day, I wouldn't have taken to heart. But today was different. I heard you hired a new secretary? I took a sip of wine and still asked. Henry didn't stop walking, did Jake tell you? Jake was the driver my family had arranged for him. I shouldn't have, but I pressed on. Don't you have anything to say to me? Say what? You already know. There was a faint sarcasm in his tone. I never met Ava before her resume landed on my desk. The final interview was with Jenny. I trust his ability. Besides, I have no reason to ruin someone's future just because she's an ex-girlfriend, right? He always has his reasons. It's always been that way. I can never argue with his lofty justifications. Over all these years, except for the occasional loss of control in bed, Henry has always been restrained and polite. Sometimes I just can't understand. Why did he agree to marry me back then? Was it out of gratitude? I don't dare ask, afraid of hearing the truth in his heart. I watch his slightly bent back as he washes the dishes, so close, yet so far. Though he is the person closest to me, it feels as if I have never truly had him. I wrap my arms around him from behind, so why not tonight? They say if a man doesn't eat at home, it means he's already eaten well elsewhere. I'm not giving up, always wanting to stir up some trouble. Or maybe you think I'm too old. Henry frowned slightly and prized my hands away. Don't make a fuss, there's a video meeting in a bit. Rejected again. What if I said, if you don't sleep with me, we'll get a divorce? I was relentless, determined to throw a stone into this still lake. As I spoke, I had already pulled his shirt out from his waistband, my hand reaching down when he suddenly grabbed it. He yanked me close, wrapping his arms around me. Looking down at me, he said, Amelia, don't push me. His voice was so calm it made my heart tremble. I know who I am, you don't need to test me, but don't push me either. Some things just aren't negotiable. I didn't dare ask, but he insisted on telling me. Not negotiable means not negotiable. I'd said the same to my dad when he tried to force me to develop feelings for some boy. What did I say? No feelings means no feelings. What's there to develop? See? Who says we're not compatible? Our thoughts are exactly the same. I looked at him with a gentle smile, but my vision blurred. Okay, I get it. Before the tears fell, I pushed him away and went back to the bedroom. There were still some photos on my phone from a few hours ago, now a bit blurry with age. But I immediately recognized the young Henry in them, along with the delicate and lovely Ava nestled by his side. Their smiles were truly beautiful. Unfortunately, Henry never smiled at me like that. How much chance do you think you have? I took a deep breath, my fingers tapping rapidly. I've already won. I am his wife. I am his wife. But, so what? He doesn't love me. My lawyer friend quickly drafted a divorce agreement for me. When she handed it over, her face was full of disbelief. Seriously? Henry? You almost fell out with the old man for him back then, and after just a few good years, you're telling me you want a divorce? Then she waved her fingers in front of my eyes. Did he cheat? Are you sick or something? Hey, I quickly stopped her, don't curse me. So what's really going on? Come on, tell me. You have no idea how hard it is for me to hold this in when you talk to me. I took the agreement and quickly flipped through it. As expected of you, no problem. The person in front of me suddenly started yelling loudly. Come on, tell me, why exactly? Wait, no, are you kidding? This agreement has no issues? She was almost about to slam the table and stomp her feet. Amelia, get a grip. What about the division of assets? I was waiting for you to ask. Do you know how much his company is worth now? And you only want to get back the money you lent him plus interest? Are you doing charity? What about the connections and resources your family provided? If your dad knew, he'd break your legs. Of course, I know that not making a losing deal is our family motto. But business is also about mutual consent. I don't lack money, and when I helped him back then, I wasn't expecting anything in return. Nonsense. If it weren't for him, why bring up marriage, especially when he was at his lowest? We even said back then that Amelia was truly born to be a businesswoman. I smiled bitterly, not blaming others for thinking that way. When trouble hit Henry's family, he and Ava were seniors about to graduate and study abroad. Henry's father was reported for corruption after retirement, and Henry's mother was hospitalized after a costly car accident. Everything unfolded exactly as planned, dragging Henry from his youthful pride into the depths of the storm. At that moment, Ava left him alone. I had seen how passionately he loved. When he looked at her, there was wind behind him, light in his eyes, and no one else could even enter his peripheral vision. So yes, I was truly despicable. Despicable enough to reach out my hand when he was at his most helpless. So, do you want to marry me? Looking back now, not only did I take advantage of his vulnerability, I was robbing him in the fire. You're right, this deal is too profitable. This isn't a matter of conscience suddenly kicking in, setting him free. My friend looked at the smile on my lips with suspicion. Does your family know? My dad and my older brother, they probably wouldn't oppose it, right? A couple of years ago, my family even helped me arrange this matter. But in recent years, there's been no word. Maybe it's because I've grown older, or maybe because Henry's company has taken off. In any case, they no longer tried to persuade me to leave or separate. Everything was getting better, but I couldn't hold on. Aren't they happy to see it succeed? I shook my head and signed my name. Divorce? But what I didn't expect was to be met with fury when I got home. Dad sat silently in the study. My older brother smashed a glass, his face full of anger. I knew that Henry was calculating all along, holding back his true intentions. Now he's just ditching you. What a perfect example of burning bridges after crossing the river. Fine. I didn't quite understand, but I still frowned. Brother, don't say that about him, it's me who, you're still defending him. Big brother didn't listen to me at all. Do you even know what he's doing right now? He's eating away at our family's territory. That's why everything's been going wrong this year. Turns out this kid's been setting me up all along. I really underestimated him. Now that he's divorcing you, isn't that just burning bridges? Fine, divorce him. But make him hand over the company as part of it. Big brother kept nagging, and only then did I finally understand. I looked at Dad, who had been silent all along. Only then did he look up and respond to me. We thought we were all family, so we were willing to let some business slide. But this time, the West City project, which we'd been preparing for over half a year, he went straight to our competitors to collaborate and snatch the bid. The loss is significant. Amelia, you've been sleeping next to a wolf. It's better to cut ties early, Dad sighed. You're still young, you can find someone else. It's just that right now, there's nothing Dad can do to help you. So this is karma. It's the retribution for my own despicable opportunism. I can no longer clearly remember how I left home. I only recall my sister-in-law pulling me along, telling me not to worry too much, that the family assets were still intact, though Henry had indeed been unscrupulous these past few years. When I came to my senses, I was already downstairs at his company building. My lawyer friend said he couldn't reach Henry after several attempts, so I decided to come in person. But what exactly to say, I hadn't figured that out. Originally, I just wanted to hand over the divorce agreement, but now I wasn't sure if I should confront him. What exactly had I been to him all these years? A rung on the ladder to climb the wealth rankings? Or an unworthy target of revenge? Henry is in a meeting. I wasn't surprised to run into Ava first. She seemed a few degrees more mature than I remembered, tall and slender, dressed in a neat professional suit. Her gentle gaze swept over the folder in my hand, and the corner of her mouth seemed to curl slightly. If it's urgent, I can help pass the documents along. There was none of the arrogance she showed when she ignored my messages. No need, I'll wait for him. The meeting might take a while, Ava explained patiently. Henry has been especially busy lately, juggling several major projects. He barely has time to eat. Or, once Henry is free, shall I have him call you back? She was both polite and professional. Henry was right, she was a competent secretary. And with him, they really were a perfect match. Take me to his office, I'll wait there. After all, I was still the boss's wife, she had no reason to stop me. The smile on Ava's face faded slightly as she bowed a little and led me to the office. I had been to Henry's office a few times before. It was clean and tidy, spotless, very much in line with his minimalist style. But this time, there were clearly a few more potted plants inside, and on the desk sat a high-end eye massager. Henry tends to get eye strain, so I prepared these for him, Ava said with a practiced smile as she brewed tea for me and explained. I nodded, of course, that was only right. But why does my heart still feel so bitter? I can imagine that even if I questioned Henry as usual, all I would get in response is that he didn't notice. Besides, I no longer have the standing to question him now. Yet at this moment, impulsiveness took hold of my mind, and I called out to Ava before she left. Why did you leave back then? And why have you come back now? A faint, delicate fragrance filled the air. It was like the scent on Ava, yet also like the original aroma of Henry's office, mingling together, indistinguishable. Silence spread. If circumstances hadn't forced my hand, Henry and I would have married long ago. We had planned to get engaged that year. Ava's voice gradually shed its professional composure. If I hadn't left, you wouldn't have had the chance to get close to him, or even marry him. Aren't you grateful to me? Ava turned to look at me, tears slowly welling up in her eyes. Then she suddenly laughed softly. I came back, of course, to see if first love really carries that much weight. Well, what was the result? I asked. But honestly, I wasn't really eager to hear the answer. It was at that moment Henry pushed the door open, just in time to see the tears Ava hadn't managed to wipe away and the furrowed frown on my face. What are you doing here? He asked me first. I placed the documents on the desk, about to speak. Henry, Ava interrupted, her voice tinged with a casual grievance. I told Amelia you were in a meeting, but she insisted on waiting, so I'll leave first. She glanced at Henry, hesitating. But Henry's gaze settled on me, his eyes deep like a calm lake, hiding any undercurrents beneath the surface. I saw a mix of confusion and frustration in her eyes. Perhaps she didn't realize that Henry had changed a lot over these past few years. He didn't answer Ava immediately, just lowered his voice and asked me, "What is it?" Being looked at like that, my throat suddenly went dry. Besides, Ava was still watching from the side, making me look like a clown who had barged into someone else's territory. I didn't want to say the words divorce agreement in front of him. I didn't want to be so utterly defeated. Let's see later. Then I fled this suffocating office in a panic, only to hear Henry's cold voice behind me, "Come here, close the door." What would he say? Would he look at the divorce agreement right away? Then would the two of them embrace in celebration, finally freed from someone as overbearing as me? Or would he ask what grievances she suffered with me? Resent me for bullying his white moonlight? No matter what, he got what he wanted from me and my family. If I let him go now, I guess that evens things out, right? Amelia's account has never been short of money. But I still returned the money I had saved over the years. Though it's just a drop in the bucket compared to the damage Henry caused, at least I feel a bit better. The wolf was brought in by me, I can't shirk my responsibility. Before Henry's call came, Jake's did instead. "Amelia, Henry's had a bit too much to drink and seems stuck with someone he can't shake off. Maybe you should come take a look?" I was stunned, instinctively standing up to head out. "Whose gathering is it?" After taking a couple of steps, I remembered I'd already filed for divorce, so it probably wasn't appropriate for me to show up now. "Not sure, seems like old classmates." "Amelia, you really should come over. My car just got dinged, so I'm tied up at the moment." Before I could finish speaking, Jake hung up. Gritting my teeth, I still rushed over. The club's corridor lights flickered in a dizzying pattern, and after searching for a long time, I finally found the private room Jake mentioned. The heavy door of the private room wasn't fully closed, and the voices inside came through clearly. "Henry. Come, one more toast for you. You're really something else now. Among all of us old classmates, you're the one who's made it the biggest. CEO of a listed company, your net worth must be sky high by now, right?" "Yeah, Henry, you've got to look out for us old brothers from now on," another voice chimed in, dripping with flattery. "Don't ever forget the bond we had back in the day." "Never forget," Henry's voice finally sounded. Because of the alcohol, his normally deep and steady voice sounded a bit unsteady. After a brief silence, a slightly slick voice spoke up. "Hey, speaking of which, Henry, you've really hit the jackpot with both your career and love life, truly a winner in life. Someone like Amelia, with that kind of family background, TSK. He shifted his tone, tinged with a deliberate sigh, "But, you know, sometimes I still think it's a pity. Back in the day, you and Ava were the perfect match, talented and beautiful. Who in our class didn't envy you? If only." He didn't finish his sentence, but the unspoken "if only" hung in the air like a heavy stone dropped into the silence. The noise in the private room seemed to drop a few notches instantly. Everyone tacitly waited for what would come next, or for Henry's reaction. Including me, standing outside the door. My heart clenched sharply, my nails almost digging into my palms. At that moment, another voice feigned innocence and took over the conversation. "What you said isn't quite right, Henry's doing pretty well now, isn't he? But Ava's here today too. Hey, Ava, come on, tell us what really happened back then? You two were so close, how did it suddenly come to this?" It turned out Ava was there as well. Her voice rose slowly, soft and melodious, tinged with a hint of grievance and helplessness. "Why bring up the past? The family situation was complicated back then, I had no choice but to leave. Some people are just luckier than me, that's all. No more on that." Someone immediately chimed in. "Ava, don't be too upset. When Henry's family hit rock bottom, that was the toughest time. Some people, well, took advantage of the situation. Quite the tactics. Now that you're back and Henry's doing better, isn't that great? Maybe there's a chance to pick up where you left off, huh? What are you talking about? Ava quickly interrupted. Yet her tone betrayed an unmistakable blush beneath the surface. Taking advantage of the situation, picking up where they left off. Blood rushed to my head in an instant, then vanished the next second, leaving only a bone-chilling coldness behind. The halo of light seeping through the crack in the door twisted before my eyes. What was I here for again? It seemed like it was to pick up Henry. But this door before me was clearly a phantom left by time 5 years ago, a part of youth memories that didn't belong to me. What right did I, an outsider, have to push it open? I took a step back, then another. Eventually, I vanished into the shadows. The door clicked open, and Ava came out supporting Henry. You're drunk, let me take you out first? Ava leaned in close, almost pressing her face against Henry's. Henry gently pushed her away. I'm fine, you go back. He straightened up against the wall, but his staggering steps had already betrayed him. I knew his tolerance for alcohol, he was clearly drunk. I instinctively stepped forward. Meanwhile, Ava threw herself into his arms. Henry, Henry. The enchanting call was like strands of a captivating thread weaving through the dimly lit corridor. It trapped me, Henry, and Ava in place. I'm back, Henry, look at me. I had no choice but to leave back then. You can blame me all you want, but you can't just ignore me. All these years, I've never forgotten you. You wanted me to stay by your side, so you haven't forgotten me either, right? Henry slowly lifted his head. I almost fled in panic. But the club's corridors were dark and twisted, impossible to find an exit. After turning several corners, just as I finally remembered to find a staff member to ask for directions, someone suddenly pulled me into their arms from behind. Who? I struggled and twisted around. Turning my head, I saw that familiar face. His eyes were hazy, reeking of alcohol, and a faint blush colored his usually cold face. What are you doing here? He said softly and lightly. Only then did I notice he couldn't stand firm at all. Just now, he hadn't pulled me into his arms, it was just that he charged too fiercely and collided with me. I gave a self-mocking smile. He probably thought I came to catch him cheating. Sure enough, before I could speak, he continued, I know my limits. You don't have to watch me so closely. Fair enough, Jake is my family's driver. He must have guessed that it was Jake who sent me, and maybe in his mind, I'm just a petty, scheming rich girl. Bitterness welled up in my mouth. I nodded, opened my mouth, but didn't know where to start. Wait a moment, I'll say a word, and we'll leave together. He turned and headed toward the private room, then I saw several figures glancing my way, only to be blocked by him again. Naturally, there was also Ava's dark, inscrutable gaze. Finally, Henry stumbled over to me, blocking my way as he greeted everyone, showing every sign of respect toward me. My heart suddenly trembled violently. He was indeed serious, fulfilling his promise to me. Faithful to the marriage, faithful to me. Even in his heart, perhaps I was never the best choice. But I wanted too much. I was so greedy, I wanted not only his body but also his love. If it weren't for this greed, how lucky and happy a woman I would be, not lacking money, with a beloved companion by my side. But it wasn't enough, I still wanted a whole, complete heart. I still longed for the smiles and passion he once had. Jake saw us home. Somehow, the moment we stepped inside, Henry pressed me against the door. He kept his head down, so I couldn't see his face. I only felt his breath so close, growing more and more rapid. Amelia, you know, there's no drink in this world that really makes people lose control after drinking. I didn't know what he meant. The next moment, he let go of me and took my hand, leading me to the bathroom. Stand here and don't move. Henry swayed unsteadily and started brushing his teeth. He brushed very seriously. So seriously it was as if he was using the toothpaste to sober up. I wasn't really going to stand still just because a drunk person told me to. Since you're fine, I'll be going first. Looking down, I found a hand clutching the hem of my clothes tightly, pulling out a flower. Henry. I called him softly. Glug glug glug, the scene suddenly became comical, with Henry, drunk, acting like a stubborn child. He rinsed his mouth, wiped his face, and turned to look at me. The faint green tea scent of the toothpaste wafted over. Just a step away. Then I'll go first, I said. How about tonight, he asked. For 3 seconds, neither of us moved. Then the light green tea mixed with a faint hint of alcohol suddenly rushed into my mouth, catching me completely off guard and making my head spin. My mind went blank with a buzzing sound. I had never refused Henry before. Because I was always the one to take the initiative, the choice had never been in my hands. Now, as he advanced step by step, I retreated helplessly, losing ground bit by bit. It wasn't until he flipped me over and pulled me into his arms, his steady breathing filling the silence, that I fully registered what was happening. Henry. I wondered if he could hear that call in his dreams. Why was that? Then what was the divorce agreement I had agonizingly handed over? Was it just a meaningless threat, a trap I had woven for myself? This was clearly what I had wanted before. So why did I feel so sad after getting it? But no matter what, it was an undeniable fact that Henry was encroaching on my family's market because of me. Even if I couldn't let go for the moment, I shouldn't keep entangling myself further. When I left, I took off my wedding ring and placed it on the bedside table. Just then, Henry's phone lit up. Henry, are you okay? Today I lost my composure, I'm sorry. I don't know if she'll make things difficult for you. Can we meet tomorrow since it's the weekend? If you're afraid she'll be upset, it's okay too. It turned out I was still the queen mother of the West, forbidding the cowherd and weaver girl from meeting. Not long after, my phone also buzzed with a notification. I'm finally off work. Tell me, where do you want to hang out? I want to drink, I want a male model. It was my lawyer friend. I replied awkwardly, but I don't have that much money right now. However, I'm planning to go to Jiuqing Mountain. No money? Jiuqing Mountain? What for? To become a nun? I exchanged the cash I had left for half a month's stay at a Taoist temple. After letting my family know I was safe, I turned off my phone. I thought, I need some quiet first. In the mountains, the breeze accompanies the birdsong, and the temple is filled with the fragrant smoke of cooking fires. Before turning 30, Amelia lived a life free of worries about food and clothing. Her greatest trouble was how to warm a heart that had fallen into an icy abyss. She couldn't see the glow of the morning sun, nor appreciate the beauty of the crescent moon at midnight. In the first few days, I simply slept. When awake, I sat by the window in a daze, watching the clouds roll and unfold, the bamboo shadows sway, and the sun crawl from east to west. Life in the temple was minimalist. Work at sunrise, rest at sunset. I began helping sweep the courtyard, sparring clumsily with the young Taoist priest, time here flowing slowly yet clearly. Henry, Ava, the fragments of these years drifted in my mind like clouds, sometimes present, sometimes gone, sometimes gathering, sometimes dispersing. That day, I was lost in thought facing an ancient ginkgo tree with twisted branches in the courtyard when soft footsteps came from behind, neither hurried nor slow. Is this tree beautiful? The young Taoist priest held a half-worn bamboo broom, sweeping near my feet. I quickly stepped aside. Beautiful, it's very serene. The young Taoist's gaze also fell on the ginkgo tree. Nonsense, it's noisy, and it also loves to shed its hair. I was momentarily stunned. Anyway, it keeps shedding, so why bother sweeping it? The young Taoist pouted, because I ate an extra bowl of vegetarian rice at noon today. Sweeping the floor won't cause indigestion, burp. I couldn't help but laugh quietly. You came all the way out to this deep mountain forest, and work isn't going well? Heartbroken? His question was so straightforward that I couldn't avoid it. I smiled bitterly. Too many things, my mind is in chaos. And now? The young Taoist's eyes were clear. Have you figured it out? I couldn't answer. I don't know, escaping for a while is just for a while. That makes sense. His voice was low but clearly reached my ears. You make me angry, so you are my retribution. You feel unlucky, probably because I'm cursing you. Blame others more, and be less harsh on yourself. Why does that sound so unreasonable? The little Taoist priest bared his teeth and shifted his tone. Since you're here, why not go to the back mountain and pick some wild vegetables for me? It'll add a dish for tonight. Pick the tender ones, the old ones are tough on your teeth, and that's the vegetables rejecting you, so don't blame me. Work harder, and you'll sleep like a baby. I watched his carefree figure turn and go to fetch the bamboo basket, a heavy stone pressing on my heart, subtly pried open just a crack. Leaves always fall, and life must go on. If you feel sad, just pause and comfort yourself. It's no big deal. Having time to mourn the passing of spring and autumn probably means I haven't been busy enough. No one can revolve around just one thing. Later, I'll spar a bit with the Taoist priest. The ordinary days passed swiftly. On the day I descended the mountain, my brother personally came to pick me up. Ancestor, you finally came down the mountain. Your home was almost torn apart by that wolf cub. Luckily, your brother here is a real man and held it together. What do you mean? I opened my phone and found countless missed calls, all from Henry. I told you, if he comes to me for a divorce, just tell him to wait another half-month. I've already signed the agreement, it's not going to be invalid. My brother rolled his eyes to the sky. I've said it hundreds of times. You don't believe it, insisting we're hiding you. I said you're on Joching Mountain, and he nearly lost half his soul. I was half convinced. Are you talking about Henry? I'm asking you, does he really want to divorce you? I've seen him negotiate before, even if the sky fell, he'd keep that icy face. This time, he almost threw a punch at me. I don't know either. I'll ask. After the call connected, there was a long silence on the other end. I took a deep breath. This is Amelia. Sorry, I'm not out of touch. How about this, you set a time and tell me, and we'll meet directly at the Civil Affairs Bureau, okay? Where are you now? Henry finally spoke. I was stunned, the voice was hoarse beyond belief. I just came down the mountain, you. Alright, I'm in town, wait for me. After hanging up, my brother and I exchanged glances. He wouldn't still be waiting there, would he? My brother muttered to himself. No way, he's not that stupid. Then should I drop you off at the mountain entrance? I smirked, half amused, half exasperated as I looked at him. You're afraid he'll hit you, but why aren't you afraid he'll hit me? The air at the mountain entrance was cool, and I spotted Henry at a glance. But it didn't quite look like him. He had lost a lot of weight, the once well-fitted custom suit now had several wrinkles, his back slightly hunched, and he seemed to be holding a cigarette. I didn't know he still smoked. My brother muttered behind me, he really is waiting here. I ignored him and walked straight toward Henry. He saw me, first lit a cigarette in the car, then turned and walked toward me, but after a few steps he stopped, as if lost in thought. Amelia. His voice was hoarse. This was so unfamiliar, so unlike him, disheveled and awkward. My chest tightened painfully, a mix of sorrow and heaviness. Sorry, I should have told you earlier. I lowered my eyes, my voice flat, I just went up the mountain to find some peace. He seemed not to hear, his gaze fixed on me. As if afraid I might disappear again. That night wasn't what you think, he took a breath, seeing I didn't respond. Do you still want to hear me out? Did I want to hear him out? I never imagined that one day Henry would be the one humbled between us, but why? Was it because I vanished all of a sudden? His eyes dimmed as he spoke to himself. Amelia, over these years, I've had my problems, but I swear, I was never unfaithful to you. Can you, please, give me some time? The mountain wind blew past, tousling the hair on his forehead. I looked up, meeting his anxious eyes, feeling an emptiness inside. Henry, have you seen the divorce papers? I ignored his pale face and continued, I believe you never betrayed me, but I think you have to admit, this isn't a healthy marriage, right? I love you, Henry. Because I loved you, I became selfish. I trapped you with money and marriage when you were down, thinking time could change you. But I was wrong. Though I have always been sincere with you, this isn't what you want, and this kind of self-sacrificing you isn't what I want either. Over the years, how you resisted yet complied with me, I can't keep pretending I don't see it. The marriage and love I want can't be like this. You say you have problems, but we've been together for 5 years, Henry. You had 5 years to tell me, but you didn't. Isn't it because you never trusted me as your wife? When we were on the mountain, the Taoist priest told me that if things don't go smoothly, it must be because the other person is suppressing me. I don't want to label you like that, but when there's no solution, maybe metaphysics is the truth. So I want to try it, to see if I might be a little happier without you. Find a time to get the certificate done? The wind blew through the mountain pass, stirring a few dry leaves that fell by his dirty shoes. He stood there stiffly, as if all his strength had been drained. The divorce certificate was finally processed. But Henry insisted on signing a new prenuptial agreement with me, which, besides what I requested, also gave me half of the company's shares. Over the years, I've been snatching business from your family, but that has nothing to do with you. Since you no longer want to hear what I have to say, then accept this share of rights that rightfully belong to my wife. I was a bit surprised but didn't ask further. I no longer wanted to pay attention to Henry's story. But hearing the words my wife stirred a tinge of melancholy in my heart. I hadn't expected that acknowledgement to come only at the time of divorce. The day we left the Civil Affairs Bureau, I got into the car first. From now on, Jake would only be my driver. Congratulations, I said with a smile, now you don't have to worry about anyone tracking your whereabouts. I wish you all the best in the future. He closed the door for me without saying a word. What a pity. Even to this day, Henry never smiled at me. After returning home, my life suddenly became filled with many tasks and troubles, and eventually, my father and brother sent me to the Northern Branch office to start over from scratch. The name Henry never disappeared from my life. But it was only after stepping out of his world that I realized his achievements in his career far exceeded the support of my family's connections and resources. He had ambition and strength. In the end, he became the industry big shot and idol in the eyes of my new company's junior assistant. Good-looking, elegant, capable, divorced but didn't mess around with relationships, heaven really is unfair. I tapped her on the head. What if his private morals are lacking? The junior assistant shook her head like a rattle. I saw him once at an industry summit. I noticed he quietly donated $2 million at that day's charity event, without signing his name. Quietly, huh? How did you find out? I couldn't help but laugh. The junior assistant proudly patted her chest. Because I saw his secretary go there. Ah, a bunch of handsome guys all together. That male secretary is really good-looking too, I really want to go. I turned back and caught myself glaring at her, then immediately changed my tone. Of course, Amelia is top-notch too. Just a male secretary? Henry changed secretaries again? I shook my head, whatever. About half a year later, the new company's business finally got on track. On my 33rd birthday, my brother threw a big party to celebrate. According to him, some of the top diamond bachelors in the industry were all there. As soon as he said that, I knew what he was up to. Aren't you afraid I'll find another lone wolf? I teased him. My brother shook his head confidently and said, I have a feeling you've transformed now. I believe you won't fall into the same trap again. But to be fair, that guy did turn out to be a decent person in the end. Oh, so you're really just worried about the money, not me, huh? My brother shouted loudly, and I laughed, asking him to introduce me around. Having more friends in business is always good. The rest, I left to fate. Amelia. The little assistant tugged at me amidst the crowd. That idol, big shot, has arrived. Who? I was already a little tipsy. Henry. A familiar name, a long-lost cool face. I looked in the direction she pointed, clearly seeing the crowd parting to make a path. What is this, a scene from a romantic drama? Happy birthday. Henry stopped in front of me, wearing a pure smile I had never seen before, without purpose or restraint. Strange, this wasn't the passionate, energetic smile that once made my heart race, yet I distinctly heard my heartbeat pounding in my ears. Was I drunk? I turned to look again at the boss I had just met. They were also dressed neatly in elegant suits, exuding the demeanor of courteous gentlemen. But at that moment, I only felt that today's champagne was too sweet. The alarm bell rang. I set my glass down on the tray and gently pushed my assistant forward. Sorry, I have to step away for a moment. Shamefully, I slipped away to the restroom.